Tesla Gigafactory Mexico. More details coming in. We got a 2-for-1 here tonight, folks. Two things for me to react to and kind of share with you guys and give my opinion on. First one is this article out of Electric here in the past 24 hours about a Gigafactory update here in Mexico. Some very exciting information there I want to share with you guys and kind of react to. And then you knew I was going to do this one, man. You already knew it. Tom Lee, our favorite bull, is out here today. He says, "Don't sell here, buy." I would expect nothing less from Tom Lee, nothing less, okay, baby? So, yeah, we'll hear what Tom Lee has to say and hear what statistics he has to give us today, because you know that man's always busting out random statistics everywhere. So, can't wait to get into that one. 24,100 plus subscribers, if not 24,200 subscribers, something like that. So, I appreciate everybody that subscribed to the channel. Thanks for, being here with me, guys, and glad you enjoy the channel. I enjoy it. Also, I recorded you guys a full workshop on how to scale your portfolio to 6 figures and beyond. I did that just a couple nights ago. It's absolutely free to access. That will be pinned comment down there if you want to check out that video. It's about 30 minutes long or so, okay? So, Tesla official announcements to build what is known as Gigafactory Mexico was light on details, but now we are starting to learn more thanks to local reports. After months of rumors, Tesla finally announced the Gigafactory Mexico during its Investors Day last week. CEO Elon Musk himself admitted that it was the biggest news of the event, but it was extremely light on details. Tesla basically only said that the factory would be built just outside Monterrey, and it would build obviously EVs based on the automaker's new vehicle platform. When Tesla builds a factory anywhere, even near a large city like Monterrey, it is going to have a big local impact, and obviously locals want to know more. Now, Samuel Garcia, Nuevo Leon's governor, has started to release more details about the project. The governor confirmed that Tesla secured a substantial piece of land spanning 4,200 acres. I mean, that's hard for me to even fathom. 4,200 acres. That is a lot of space, okay? That's ridiculous. Like, what that tells me, this is such a huge number. What this tells me, that's about thank you for this, okay? That is about twice the size of land that Tesla secured to build Gigafactory Texas. And if you know anything about that Gigafactory Texas, that's an insane project, okay? What that tells me is that this is going to be the main production facility in North America for Tesla moving forward. It does not mean Gigafactory Texas or the Fremont factory or the Reno facility or what they got up in Buffalo. It doesn't mean like any of those don't matter. I'm just telling you, based upon the size of land and based upon how cheap labor is down there, I believe this is going to be the main production facility for North America for Tesla. And it's going to produce likely the highest margin vehicles anywhere outside of Shanghai, China. It might even, their margins, honestly, from this Gigafactory might even be better than what they are in the Shanghai facility, okay? This is unbelievable. This tells me this is a no joke as holy smokers, that they're getting that much land, 4,200 acres. It's ridiculous. He also confirmed that Tesla plans to spend about $5 billion to build the factory, which is in line with previously planned capital expenditures at other Gigafactories. It's important to note that it's generally over years and in several phases of construction, right? It's not like they spend all that $5 billion in a year. Even look at Shanghai. Shanghai Gigafactory still has projects being built out there. It's incredible, right? And that's, I remember watching that facility, be built out years ago, right? Gigafactory Texas, the Austin Gigafactory, that's still a project that's going to, being built out. And we've been watching the drone videos forever, right? And it's already producing vehicles. It's just like, it's a process nonetheless. It doesn't just happen overnight. It happens in phases, with other phases coming after the start of production in order to support the investment. Finally, Garcia said that Tesla plans to employ 7,000 people at Gigafactory Mexico directly. This is on par or lower than the other Tesla Gigafactories. It could create tens of thousands of jobs more indirectly as suppliers move to the region to ramp up production, as Tesla already has several suppliers, right? And my thought around this is, Tesla just gets smarter and smarter as time goes on. I would bet that Tesla is going to continue to learn how to produce their vehicles faster with less people. Faster with less people. Okay? If you've watched the ramp of Tesla over the years, this is what they do, man. They learn, and they learn quickly. And think about where Tesla was 5 years ago. This company hadn't even proven 5 years ago that it could ramp to any sort of large numbers, right? And here we are today in 2023, and they've done that now. And so this company keeps the pedal to the metal. Tom Zhu, Tesla's head of automotive and the person in charge of Gigafactories, added that his team plans to build the factory at a record pace, like Gigafactory Shanghai, which went from breaking ground to production in about 9 months. They build differently in China, okay? I will say that. They build differently in China. I'm not as convinced that it's going to be built that fast. But here's maybe the most important part of all this, okay? Garcia confirmed that Tesla told him it plans to start producing cars there next year in 2024. That's extraordinary, okay? Extraordinary. And so this is a no joke as holy smokers. And like I said, based upon how much land they're buying here, I believe that they are planning that this Gigafactory is going to be the big dog for North America. I truly believe that. They wouldn't buy that much land and make this sort of $5 billion investment. And remember, $5 billion goes a lot further in Mexico than it goes in the United States of America. That's the truth, okay? It goes a lot further. These numbers in this acres, this tells me that Tesla's going big time in Mexico, okay? Next up here, Tom Lee says, don't sell here, buy. What does our favorite bull Tom Lee have to say here? Let's get into this one.
I mean, it is a path that is sort of in the middle of that. I think Powell today was kind of emphasized that the Fed's reaction is changing, and that's why we saw March.
It's not my internet, by the way. I watched this live on TV, and it had a little funny parts like that in there
hikes
as well.
Actually increase. But if you ask, is the trajectory of inflation what changed today or moved markets? It hasn't. In fact, if you look at the break evens for 6 months forward or 12 months, they actually went down today. So I think the stock market is going to care about the path of inflation. It does care about how the Fed reacts to it. But the reason we're constructive has a lot to do with leading indicators showing us that inflation could be a lot softer. I know January sort of changed a lot of people's minds, but we start to get some of the February data, and I do think some of this seasonal distortion, the gap between jolts and indeed, I mean, these gaps as they close actually show us that inflationary pressures could be easing actually a lot faster than expected. So that's keeping us constructive.
So, Tom, then on a day like today, and I know you're bullish and you do think the market's going to rally, on a day like today where you have all the major averages down more than 1%, every sector in the S&P in the red, would you be buying? And if so, what?
Yeah, I mean, today's a day that, someone hits the sell button and maybe not discriminating on price. So I would look at that as a buying opportunity. I mean, the VIX moved up. But
we are entering the best 8 weeks for stocks. We still see S&P higher by the end of April, he says.
Yield actually was pretty flat, and we did see some signs of panic, whether you're looking at ARMS index. It's not quite at the panic level or the put-call ratio. So I do think that this is a better entry point, not to be selling here, but to be buying. And we'd be sticking with what we liked at the start of the year, which is FANG, and the industrials, and then sort of a distant third is energy, but energy is probably tougher in the first half.
Mike, I want to get your thoughts on this, too, because we did see broad-based selling today. Financials, the worst performing, real estate, as you might expect, with yields moving higher as well, but also materials. I mean, it was really kind of across the board today. The way to think about this, just a knee-jerk reaction to what we saw in the bond market in response to Powell or something more in terms of the technicals?
I think it was mostly a reflex response, but a justified one to a fair degree. I mean, you have to reprice according to the rate path. I do think breadth was relatively negative, but it's, we're working off of, I think, some money in the bank, so to speak, that the rally has earned.
I got to say this, okay? I've got to say this. I think CNBC just blew, way over blew today's market action. And I watched a few hours of CNBC, while I was kind of working today, right? Just on in the background. And I just kind of listened with one ear. And it was just it was cracking me up because I was looking and the NASDAQ was down 1.2% today. Did you guys see the market today? It wasn't even down that much. Like, I was hardly down. The public account, for instance, I think was down like $11,000 today. That's nothing. That's literally nothing. Like, look at the market here today. The Dow was down 1.7%. S&P 500 down 1.5%. The NASDAQ down 1.2%. The Russell down 1.1%. Like, my worst stock was negative, 3%? And I had several stocks that were green today. Okay, obviously, S-Dow was the main green thing I had today, right? But, like that, I thought today was just way overblown by kind of the financial media, make it out like this was some kind of huge, crazy day, and like, what's going on here? And I'm like, dude, this is literally nothing. Like, what are we talking about here? But yeah.
Us. So it's not as if you've kind of unwound the strength even of last week's bounce. Mm-hmm. So technically, I think it's okay. It's precarious, but it's probably not something that changed. The real weakness in regional bank stocks within financials, definitely noteworthy. If you look at like a 5-year chart of the regional banks ETF, it looks like it's kind of teetering near the edge of some key levels. Basically, it hasn't been this low in a couple of years. So, that's not a great economic message, but you've also had head fakes lower before in exactly that sector.
Tom, would a 50 basis point hike change your opinion?
50 basis point hike is going to have to get priced into the stock market. I think today was maybe the start of how that's going to affect markets. But, I think there's a misconception that as long as the Fed is hiking.
That statement sounded unconfident, Tom Lee. It kind of sounded like he's expecting the market to go lower. Like literally just listen to what he just said there. Kind of like, listen to this.
50 basis point hike is going to have to get priced into the stock market. I think today was maybe the start of how that's going to affect markets. But
the start of how that's going to affect markets, that almost sounds like Tom Lee bearish. I'll be honest. Like, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to kind of understand what he's basically saying there. That's interesting.
I think there's a misconception that as long as the Fed is hiking, that the stock market will go down because financial conditions are tightening. That was true of last year because the Fed was higher in a hurry. But if you look at the 14 Fed cycles since 1970, where the Fed was raising over more than a 24-month period, 11 of those 14 times stocks made new highs while the Fed was hiking.
So what would it take? I'm wondering, what would it take?
11 of those 14 times stocks made new highs while the Fed was hiking.
That's interesting. 11 of those 14 times the stock market made new highs while the Fed was hiking. Interesting. That's an interesting stat. We always know Tom Lee's going to pull something out, a rabbit out of his hat somewhere, man.
What would it take? I'm wondering, what would it take? 75? Would it take just a 7% target? What would it take to make you less bullish?
John, I think if we were hurtling towards a recession, I think that would be tough for stocks to actually rise. But as you know, there were predictions of recessions last year. And again, we're still waiting for those recession, metrics to show up. So I think as long as inflation is improving and the Fed is doing its job, that's not a reason for someone to say the stock market has to go down 20%. Last year, we already had a 27% drawdown. So I think, you have to keep in mind the market's been in an uptrend since October. So we're 6 months into an uptrend. And if we have this test and we're up 5% this year, is someone going to say, where's the recession? Or are we going to say that maybe it was a time to be adding risk?
So fair points Tom Lee made at the end there, right? And this is something I was talking about. I think it was on the main channel, or maybe it was here on the reaction channel, actually, right? About yeah, I think it was here on the reaction channel yesterday. Oh no, it's not a helicopter today. It's just a plane. It's just a plane. Okay. Yeah. Choppers are the ones that really get me mad. Those things are too loud, man. But yesterday on the reaction channel, I was talking about the whole recession talk, and a lot of these Wall Streeters bring up recession, and it's just going to keep getting brought up forever and ever, it seems like, right? Until it happens, or people just give up on it. One of the two scenarios is going to play out, right? But obviously, I said this, it can just keep getting kicked down the road, right? And now it's like, oh, maybe in 3 months, maybe in 6 months. And it was like 2022 was supposed to happen. And then it was like, oh, maybe in the back half of 2022. And once again, I still feel like we had a recession in 2022, but that's not a subject for today, right? Then it was like, well, wait, just in the first half of 2023, big recession, just wait. Here we are. It's now March. And it's like, still not here, and so it's like now it's going to be the end of 2023. Then if it doesn't happen at the end of 2023, then they're going to push it out to 2024. Like they're just going to keep kicking this can down the road until, like I said, it happens or they give up on it. One of those two scenarios is going to play out, and we'll just have to see how all this plays out, folks. Appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thanks so much, guys. 24,100 plus subscribers on the channel. Also, make sure you guys check out that workshop I put together for you. You're going to get a lot of value out of that. How to scale your portfolio to 6 figures and beyond in the 5-step process on how to do that. Appreciate y'all. Much love and have a great day.